Are they marked? Oh, they are marked. What? I still can't go over here. I can't even go in here. Ron. Why? Why you go and die on me? Zet? He seems pretty down. Can't say I don't understand how he feels though. It was right when the shifts changed. Ron came out to relieve me. Then I was chattering away with him like always. That means he saved him. Just when the first shell hit us. Must have been around 3 in the morning. So it started 3? Around 3? Right in the middle of the night. I was on the lookout. I should have noticed something was off. That explosion completely took me by surprise. I was so sure nothing would ever happen out here. That when something actually did, I was totally useless. If I just paid a bit more attention, if I'd been a better soldier, Ron might still be with us. It's not your fault. None of us could have predicted that something like this would happen. You can hardly blame yourself for the lack of vigilance after being stationed in a peaceful area like this for so long. It's like the dead of night, knowing your guard would be down. Not really. We need more information before we can say for sure. No, I don't think it was them. What? I think... What? There was something else that happened before we came under attack. We heard an explosion coming from the Republican Army base. When we looked, we saw smoke pouring from it. We know that both bases were attacked. But did both attacks really happen around the same time? If that's so, it's unlikely that either army was responsible. Who is responsible? I ain't gonna say is in a very loud voice. We should keep this in mind as we piece things together. A situation. Some of those little pauses, but I have something going on at the moment. Looks like they're really hustling over there. We've confirmed a number of armed vehicles entering and exiting the area. Huh. We've heard their base got hit pretty hard too. Even from over here, it sure looks that way. The Lieutenant General said that the Republican base got hit at least as hard as the Watchtower, if not harder. We believe they were responsible for that as well. They needed an excuse to attack us, and that's sure as hell looks like one. Do you really think it's true? That much damage seems awfully excessive. I ain't misreading all these. They probably just got overzealous with the explosive. Doesn't make much difference either way. If they're blizzing enough to attack us, we'll blow them back across the border. Please don't. The soldiers here all seem to have their doubts. But without any hard evidence, we're not going to be able to convince them of anything. We should reconsider the possibility that this was a deliberate act of sabotage by the coward forces. A homie right here was right. Map. What? Oh, I forgot you can enter in the bottom. No, you can't. I don't know what to say. We should focus on our investigation. I'm gonna leave that part in. Alright. I figured it out. These little signs does not point downward. They actually point across. I wish I looked better, but I was kind of screwing around at the moment. Looking at this. This is awful. It really is. Looks like they got hit hard. And to think there were casualties. You know, the Imperial Army isn't going to sit and twiddle their thumb after suffering an attack like this. They have their image to uphold, after all. Silence. Hey, look. Like most of the damage is concentrated on the south side of the building. You think whoever carried out the attack could have done it from the Highlands? It seems very likely. But where on the plains could they have launched an attack like that from? Well, the Highlands are very vast. You need some kind of clue to even know where to start looking. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to find something here that point us in the right direction. And this one will be here at the debris. Yep, this casing. Huh? Is this a shell? So, listen. Is there something unusual about that scrap of metal? Bro, that is a shell. I knew it. This is a mortar shell manufactured by the Renford Company. Are you serious? Yeah, I've seen them before on the assembly line. There are only a couple of models capable of firing this kind of shell. That would have suggested that the mortar used to fire it was also made by the Renford Company. But if we assume that's true, it seems much less likely that the Republic was responsible. True. Why would the Republican Army use a weapon made in the Empire? It doesn't make much sense to me. Take it to Gramps. Even if we account for deception, it seems unlikely that Albert will go this far to conceal their involvement. Though, considering the stakes, we can't entirely rule out the possibility. Still, this might prove to be an important clue of solving this mystery. I think that's all the info we gathered here. I think so. Now, we need to analyze what we've learned. First, we should establish a good picture of what was happening when the attack occurred. That seems like the best place to start. But first off, what time was the attack tower attack? Oh my goodness, I have to select these? It was 3 a.m. Yes, that's what the guard told us. But that wasn't all that was going on. The Republican Army came under attack as well. And according to the Lieutenant General, they suffered an even greater damage than what happened here. I think we can safely discount the possibility that the Republican Army bombed their own forces then. But there's no evidence that the Imperial Army launched an attack either. All we know is that both attacks happened and both sides took heavy damage. However, as Alyssa said, we have no evidence to suggest that either side was responsible. If we accept that as fact, the most likely scenario is that the responsibility lies with another party entirely. So you think the third party is working behind the scenes to provoke both countries into starting a war? I have a good idea, but I am not going to share it. It's really, really bad idea. Tensions between the Empire and the Republic are always high. Well, at least Yus is going to say it. But compared to other areas of similarity, political value, the North Highlands have always been peaceful. I can convince of no reason either country would decide to break that peace last night. I agree. If anything, it seems that the negative would outweigh the positives for both parties. If this were Crossbell, it might be a different story, but here? Now that you mentioned it, we found something else odd about the attack on the west side, didn't we? Something that points to the third party Warland? Something else odd about the attack? I bet she's referring to this. It's talking about the mortar used for the attack? Exactly. It looks like the orbital mortar they used in the attack were an old Renford model. And I for one find it pretty unlikely that the Republican army is packing Erebonian weapons. Indeed, they have little reasons to be, considering the Republic has its own major orbital technology manufacturer. The Viren company, as I recall. Yeah. The Viren? Is it Viren? Company is responsible for manufacturing most of the arms used by the Republican Army. Then there's the fact that the mortar used here is old. The Imperial Army hasn't used this model for years. That's a lot of spacing. So I was reading it with a big ass space. I've heard that military suppliers sometimes makes it way into the black market and ends up in the hands of mercenaries. Knowing that, it seems unlikely that either army chose to use it to cover their tracks. Quite. However, there is a far more pressing question we should answer. What do you mean? I know what you're going. We need to know where the attack was launched on in the first place. Should be south, right? But without vital details, all our speculation thus far is for naught. If we intend to avert the war, we need more speculation. We need conclusive evidence. Agreed. But the Highlands are far too vast. You just strike out searching blindly. Especially with the Lieutenant General's deadline rapidly approaching. Actually, we may not have to start our search blind. If Alyssa and Gaius will lend me a hand, I might be able to help. She gonna use her powers? She gonna use her powers? What do you have in mind? I can factor the location of the damage together with the speed and the trajectory of the mortar shell. And then take into account the Highlands wind. Oh, she's going to science! I may be able to estimate the area from which the mortar was fired. Potentially in a way. Are you serious? It sounds easier said than done. I'll do what I can. She's going to use her powers. Are you familiar with the specific of the shell that was used? think so. It's an old model, but I should be able to give you some rough detail. Oh, rough data. That should be plenty. Anyway, let's have another look at the damaged area and start a calculation. Please come with me, everyone. Red. I got 1 AP. Alright, I think I calculated a rough location. I believe the mortar was fired from a location to the south of here. Using the map as a reference point, that means it was likely launched from somewhere in this area. I'm just looking at this kill hopefully so that I don't have to go running around in circles. According to my calculation, the launch site shouldn't be too far from here. Is that what? Wow. I can't believe you managed to work that out. That's well beyond the levels of mathematics we can cover in class. That's what she's number 1. I enjoy watching Ringdits really sweat it out trying to best you on our next midterms. Oh, you're talking about home. Just a little applied physics. I couldn't have done it without Alyssa and Guys' help. Looks like we got a nice place. Got a nice big place of the puzzle right in our hand. Sure, seems like it. Let's take off and start looking. Right. And then the other reported their findings to the soldiers in charge and asked him to relay the intel to Zendergate. Afterward, they set out on horseback to begin their search. Right. Let's start looking for where the mortar was actually fired from. If what Emma calculated is correct, it should have been fired from a point south of the watchtower. Most likely from a point it's easy to overlook, so that it's not found out. Let's see if we can find anywhere that fits that description. We'll likely need to rely on the map to help us. Wonder if the corporate could still be there. Nope. Regardless, we should see what we can find. Worst location. The map usually just tells me where to go. Oh, yes it does. Right down the left.